Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So, today I thought I would start with I thought I would talk about a very topic, so it's like I'm gonna do another what if video. And some of you may get a little triggered, I'm not quite sure. So, today I will be talking about what if Mary never went blind in Little House on the Prairie. Now, this is a little different because this Little House on the Prairie is actually based off of a true story, the life of Laura Ingalls Wilder. Now, Mary actually does go blind in the books, and even though Mary is not the main character of Little House on the Prairie, the TV show, she does have a few episodes where she is considered a main character. Mary has a few. Now, every character has a few things that happen in the character story arc where they mature and their character evolves. With Mary, she has a few scenes of this where she has to go through an operation. She gets picked on a few times by Bubba. She gets called names because of her glasses. These are all major parts in Mary's character development. Mary going blind is also a major story arc in her development. This episode was also very well done, as Melissa Sue Anderson and Linwood Boomer went to I think it was like a blind academy for youth, so they knew how young people kind of not really kind of looked, or how the blind people did certain actions. I don't know the exact name for it. If you guys do, please let me know in the comments. And this award, and this film was, well, I'm not sure, Melissa Sue Anderson was nominated for an Emmy for this performance. I'm not sure if she won it or not. I do know that she might have won some other Emmys, but I'm not 100% sure. And this episode is a two-part episode, so that two-part episodes, sometimes they're important, sometimes they're not. They just do it so that they usually start they start the later seasons with them, and they sometimes end the later seasons with them. They just do it to give the story a bit more flow. Some have to do with Mary, like I'll Be Waving As You Drive Away, which is where she goes blind, To Live with Fear, where she has her operation, The Wedding, May Make Them Proud, See the Light. So, what if Mary never actually went blind? What would happen, and how would this affect certain characters? Now, in the fourth season, near the end, we do know that Mary wants to be a teacher. And when she's blind, she feels like nothing because everything she ever wanted to do is taken away from her. She can no longer be a teacher. Later, we found out that she can teach blind kids, and that's what she ends up doing. So if she never went blind, she would have probably gotten her teaching certificate, and we do know that in the fifth season, when everyone leaves because of the railroad whatever, Miss Beadle, which is at that time is now Mrs. Sims, doesn't come back, and Alice takes over the class. So if Mary never went blind, when they were in Minoka in season 5 and needed a school teacher, Mary probably would have ended up teaching school there and then Walnut Grove when they returned. And probably throughout the rest of the season. Now, of course, we do see that in I'll Be Waving As You Drive Away Part 1. She does have a slight relationship with Seth, so whether that would continue or not, me knowing her history with John Jr., but that's a little different, so could work. It may work out, it may not. Because in the book, Mary actually never married. She died before she died from scarlet fever or something when she was in her 20s. I'm not 100% sure. I've never read the books. I've had them read to me, but I've never actually read them. Now, Mary also would probably she would stay with the family instead of living in Winoka by herself and then moving to New York. So now, how would this affect other characters? Now with the family, Charles knew that Mary was going blind, and he didn't want to tell her. But he eventually had to, because he knew that if he didn't, she would probably never forgive him, and she would wonder what happened. So eventually, he did tell her, and she didn't take it so well. So if she never actually went blind, their relationship would probably continue the way it was. Mary wouldn't sit in the rocker all day and feel sorry for herself, and life would go on. Now what about Adam? Adam isn't even a character that exists until I'll be waving as you drive away. Now we do know that in this episode it's clearly to see that he is her teacher and he is blind, but by the end of the episode we can sense that there is something more. And in the 5th season they eventually run a school together, Mary, and start the blind school in Walnut Grove. In the 6th season, their first son is born, although they do have a miscarriage in the 5th season, but I'm not going to get into that, when she dies in the fire. Eventually, in the 7th season, their blind school has been moved to Sleepy Eye, and Adam regains his sight and goes to law school. By the 8th season, Adam has been living in Walnut Grove and has had only 2 cases. By that time, the school has been taken over by the government. The kids are returned to their parents or sent to other blind schools. Hester Sue comes and lives in Walnut Grove. And Adam and Mary move to New York. And don't ever return in the episode except in the Christmas They Never Forgot, which is also in the 8th season. After that, they aren't in any of the other episodes or the Legacy movies. So if Mary never went blind, she would have never gone to that school in Idaho, I think it was. She would have never met Adam. Adam would never actually have appeared on the show. And actually that's not true. They could have written in Adam as a different character, because they do say that his father was a lawyer and his dad wanted him to be a lawyer. But after Adam went blind, his father kind of abandoned him and didn't really abandon him, but he ruined his relationship with Adam. So maybe they write Adam in as a law student that Mary meets in teachers college or something, and maybe they do end up marrying. So maybe Adam is a different character. But maybe Adam actually never does appear in the TV show, or maybe he is blind. He's a blind person that has his own way of looking at life, and Mary kind of shows him the different ways of life. Maybe, but we'll never know. Now, of course, Laura is affected by Mary's blindness, as she does write with her Braille writer, and in the, what is that episode called? The Enchanted Car, that's what that episode's called, where Mary can see, she can differentiate between light and dark, and Mary believes that she'll be able to see again. Laura actually does believe it too, and commences to fix up the Edwards cabin for her and Adam to live in. Albert tells her not to get her hopes up, but knowing Laura and Mary, they both expect her to see again, and when we found out that Mary can just differentiate between light and dark, they are upset. So, now we do know that the difference between Mary and Adam was Adam did regain his sight in season 7. But what's different was Adam lost his sight due to an accident where I think he hit the back of his head on a rock, and that stopped the blood flow or something to his eyes and made him not see. Where Mary, because she had scarlet fever, her corneas, or the cones in your eyes, or whichever part of it that makes you blind. I am not an optometrist, I could not tell you this. Her eyes slowly begin to fade. Now I do know that she needed glasses in the 2nd season. And just because, I have glasses, just because you have glasses doesn't mean you're going to go blind. Her eyes would just, because she had scarlet fever, her eyes would just slowly and slowly weakening till a day, and I think Dr. Burke said, where it's going to get darker, darker, and darker till one day she just doesn't see anything. And he also said that this could happen very suddenly, or it could happen gradually. I'm not sure if he actually does say that. If you guys rewatch that episode and he doesn't say that, let me know. But I'm pretty sure that's how it works with eyes. Usually, is for blindness. If it comes with age or with now with a disease, it can happen right away. What's on my wall? It's like right. What is that? Oh, that's my camera. And with Mary's case, it just slowly fades away, which can also happen with old age. It can happen, sorry, just stuff from my camera. It can happen gradually or suddenly. Where with Adam, his happened instantly because he had pressure to the head, and that pressure like that forced him to be blind. Of course, we do see that in the 7th season, an explosion happens with the blaster and oil in the freight yard, and that it had the same pressure and caused him to see. So Mary actually is never able to regain her sight. But if they wrote it in so that she does have an accident and is instantly blind, which would be completely different, and not really the Mary-like way. The only accident she ever gets into is she gets kicked by a horse and other things that I don't remember. And then she goes through another accident and has that same pressure. She would be able to see. So how would this, or maybe they wrote it in for the Enchanted Cottage where she actually does regain her sight. So now, and we do see that in the Enchanted Cottage how Adam is dealing with this. He doesn't want Mary to see because he feels like he will be a burden to her. And he even, when Ma tries to help him in the kitchen, he says that he is very capable of doing it. And then I just see the light with Mary. She does the same thing. When Ma offers to carry her bag into the hotel room, Mary says that she can do it. There are some things that blind people are capable of doing. The only difference is Mary does go through this. Mary does feel like she's a burden to Adam, where Adam feels like he will be a burden to Mary. So if Mary regained her sight in the 6th season, Adam would probably go through those feelings of denial, regret, dread, and like he's a burden to her. But then Adam regains his sight in the 7th season. So how would that play out? Either Little House on the Prairie writers would write it so that Adam doesn't regain his sight, or that when he does, they both regain their sight. But then how would that affect the blind school? Well, if Mary regained her sight, it would be like when Adam regained his sight. Like, it's just all the same. Mary and Hester Sue run it while Adam's in blind school. So maybe Mary becomes a certified teacher, and she probably would still teach in the blind school, though. We're not sure. Now the fire, though, the fire would probably stay the same because, as we know, Alice was going to get Adam Jr. and the fire was near the door and she was locked in there by the fire, not the door, and they both died. So now Mary and Adam both can't see in that episode, but by that time Mary probably would be able to see, if I remember correctly. And she probably still wouldn't. She would probably try and run in after them, but like Adam or Hester Sue would probably stop her. Which that episode's also another major part in her character arc. So, but if Adam regained his sight at the same time, what would happen in season 7? Because we do know that when Adam becomes a lawyer, the guys throw a rock in the window and Mary is terrified because she can't see what's going on, and Adam kind of protects her. So that scene would be completely different. They probably would still move to New York. Yes, because by that time, Laura's teaching in Walnut Grove. And that would probably be the end of it. Not much would change if she regained her sight, but a lot would change if she never went blind. So what do you guys think? If Mary never went blind or she regained her sight, would the story change completely? Let me know in the comments down below. Subscribe, give this video a like, because it lets me know you guys love what I'm doing and want me to continue. And also, I know I never mentioned this in my first video, but I listened to a radio show called Adventures in Odyssey, and I would love to share some theories and some more what-if videos with you guys. So, let me know if you want me to do that, and let me know what other Little House ideas you have. See you guys.